Let's say you're applying for a job at a fancy bakery. The interviewer asks you what your greatest professional achievement was, and you say, "Oh, I was on the Great British Bake Off." On the face of it, being on Bake Off is a major achievement, but that answer is also pretty vague. It says nothing about your skills or the contributions you could take to your next job. You've really missed a big opportunity to sell your strengths and come out ahead of the other applicants. So what do? Welcome back, or welcome to the channel if you're just joining us. Today, we're talking all about the STAR method, a simple formula you can use to make yourself feel more in control when you sit down for your job interview. The STAR method is a structured approach for answering job interview questions about your behavior, work experience, or achievements. It works by breaking a response into 4 parts. Situation, the background or challenge you faced. You mention what kind of show Bake Off is, what situation you were in, and why it was important. Task, your responsibilities or your role in that situation. Action, the steps, skills, and actions you use to overcome that challenge. And result, the impact or outcome of your actions. How the judges received your work, awards, or the positive feedback you received. Taking this approach really makes your positive impact clear for the employer, even if British baking isn't their cup of tea. And what's great about this approach is you can use the STAR method for literally any job interview question. So what we're going to do next is take a look at some common job interview questions and break down how we can use the STAR method to answer them. Before we go any further, great job on making this far through the application process. Now let's talk about how you can bring it all home and get that job. Okay, tell me about a mistake you made and how you handled it. Tell me about your mistakes isn't just a test of your self-awareness. Recruiters ask about your previous mistakes to test how you respond under pressure or when things go wrong. My advice when you're applying the STAR method here would be to begin by discussing what happened and what your role was in neutral, goal-oriented terms. Show accountability and explain why you took the course of action that you did take without blaming others. Then outline the steps you took to solve the problem and conclude with a specific takeaway or a lesson you learned from the experience.
Early on in my role at Soulfuel, I was coordinating sample shipments for a new product trial with one of my vendors. My job was to make sure the vendor had the correct timeline to produce and deliver the samples for our internal review and testing process. Unfortunately, I accidentally told them the wrong delivery deadline, which caused them to plan their production later than we needed. Luckily, I caught the error and quickly clarified the timeline and arranged for expedited shipping. Following on from that, I worked closely with the vendor to minimize delays, and we were able to stick to our original timeline with a slight adjustment. Since then, I've updated our workflow to include a double check of all production and delivery deadlines and created a quick reference sheet to avoid similar mistakes in the future.
Okay. Can you give me an example of a goal you set and how you achieved it? This question is really a test of your ability to plan and execute tasks efficiently. It also tells the employer whether you're someone who will take initiative and is an important indicator of how you measure success. When you're answering this question, the situation and task sections are important opportunities to connect the experience to the role that you're applying for. Prepare before the interview by shortlisting a couple of examples that relate to either the industry you'll be working in or the type of work you'll be doing.
During my second year at Better Eating, our engagement rates plateaued, and we weren't seeing growth in comments or shares despite having a growing number of followers. As the social media lead, I set a goal to develop a structured, themed monthly content plan to boost engagement by at least 20% in 3 months. I introduced interactive content like polls, customer stories, and recipe reels scheduled around peak posting times based on our analytics. And engagement increased by 34% within 2 months, and the strategy became our new standard for content planning.
Great. Tell me about a time you disagreed with someone. How did you handle the situation? Teamwork and collaboration are important for any role, so it's useful for the employers to know how you'd handle any disagreements. When you answer this question, it's really important that you show empathy when you lay out the situation of the interviewer. Explain the reasoning behind the other party's decision, and then give practical reasons for you wanting a different course of action. Next, use the action section of your answer to illustrate how you address the disagreement and the results section to show the outcome.
In my role at Octomart, a coworker and I both thought we deserved the credit for an important sale that we both worked on. And I wanted my hard work to be recognized while maintaining a good working relationship with my coworker. So I suggested that we split the commission since we both contributed to the sale. And I pointed out that maintaining good teamwork and workplace morale mattered more than a single sale. My teammate agreed with my solution, and it actually led us to collaborating more often, which has boosted our combined sales.
You now have all the tools you need to give detailed, memorable answers in your next job interview, even if the recruiter throws you a curveball. We've covered a lot in today's video, so here's a quick cheat sheet to help you apply the STAR method to your job interview answers. A quick run through of that list will help you make sure that you've got all your bases covered the next time you're in the interviewer's hot seat. When you're ready to run through your interview, we also have a ton of other mock interview questions and example answers on our website. I'll leave the link in the description below. And don't forget to check out this guide to salary negotiations before the big day. Remember, you're killing it. Best of luck with your interview, and I'll see you in our next video. Bye-bye.